Today is a good day to talk about Amsterdam and why Amsterdammers or people living in the city don't want you to come and visit. But you're thinking, all these tourists, they bring in billions every year because they come and spend their hard-earned cash in the city. So why the attitude? Well, exactly. Why the attitude? Why is it that Amsterdammers, I don't know if that's what they're called, don't want you to come to visit the city? Well, for the reason that you also visit and you come with an attitude, and that is why they don't want you to come. All right. Now, to understand this, apparently, the city council decided a few years back because there were a lot of people complaining about visitors coming to Amsterdam. And if you want to understand this, it's not that they don't want you to come, but they want you to come and do normal. That is, you come and behave. But the problem is the type of people coming to Amsterdam recently are not the type of people who come to behave. They come to get wasted. And it's just like, Ibiza and the same thing the Spanish is saying. Anyway, the point here is that Amsterdam is saying, look, the way the city is designed, the city is rather compact because all the interest and things that people want to do is always in the same, less than 8 square meters. It is just that compact, the city. And now you've got all the narrow roads, you've got all the bikes. Every now and then you see a car come through, and then you've got people, once upon a time, all the big vessels, the cruise ship that would take people from most of the ports visiting Europe would also want to stop over. And what they do is not even spending money. They come and just dump thousands of people into the center. And all these people would end up just waddling around into the on the site and just doing whatever it is they want to do. And then when it's time to come to go, they get back on the vessel. Sometimes they don't even spend that much money in the city anyway, and then they leave. So the design of Amsterdam makes it very complex. First of all, because you have the integrated stores into the streets. So you could have a store on the ground floor, and then on the first floor and above that, you have all the houses or apartments, flats that people would live in. And then you would have maybe you live next to a coffee shop that doesn't sell coffee, but it's got the green sign. You understand the whole point. So people go there to get high, and then you live next door. You see, but it's a Dutch thing. It's part of the society. It's integrated, so you don't really mind until when people start getting high and then believe they could fly. I believe I can. You get the point? And people are like, no. There have been cases where people have just gone up a building and decided, well, they're going to jump or go over the bridges because it's not as if there aren't a lot of bridges over the canals in Amsterdam. So the people were like, oh, yeah, they want to jump in it because I need to cool off because the heat in in Amsterdam is just getting to me. Just really strange behaviors. And then Amsterdam also became very popular for people who come for the hen do. So basically, a group of young people all dressed in their tutus, male group, female group, and they all come. And the whole point is this, thanks to like EasyJet and Ryanair and all these other low-cost flights coming from the UK, from France and all that. Even the French sometimes from the northern part, if you're coming from Lille, if you're coming from Calais, and all the northern part of France, they don't even bother taking a flight. They just get in their car and just drive through. It's like 3-4 hours. So what they do is that Friday evening, you get people coming from the UK, then you get all the French people, and every now and then a few people from Belgium would trickle in, and then you've got the Germans on the other side, everyone coming to have a good time. And why do they want to have a good time? Because they know Amsterdam knows how to put on a show. So it's not going, if you go to England, it's always about going from one pub to the other. In this one, you just basically go from one coffee shop to the other, and by the time you come out, you're really buzzed. And then another thing is that when people do that, There are people. If you go to some part of Amsterdam, you have all the shops, then you have the red light district, and the funny thing is that it's not as if you're in a location where it's very separated from normal housing. You could just have a family living on street one, and then you go maybe say 100 meters, you turn left, and you've got women in the windows, and then it attracts a lot of tourists and people, customers, and people just walk down talking as if and being loud. And then on the one corner of the street, you have people from Jesus saying Jesus loves you, just Jesus saves you. You are sinner, repent of your sins, and you're like, shut up. Yeah, if we want to be saved, we know where the church is. There are quite a few cute churches in Amsterdam, so you get all that. So once that became a problem, Amsterdam said, look, when there were complaints from people living in the city, they said, okay, we would do something about it if we get more than 20 million people staying overnight in the city. And then between 2021 and 2022, they started to see a rise. So they were getting more than 20 million people throughout the year. And then people said, we have to put a stop to this because of the nuisance, basically, of the behaviors. Most visitors are a bit chilled, but at night, the chilled visitors have already been during the day. They've done the museum, they've done all the other activities. They've gone to Fundel Park and walked around. They've taken their selfie. They've eaten their whatever it is people eat in the center. Anyway, you get the point. Oliebollen, no one. Oliebollen is the winter. Anyway, so those are like Dutch donuts, I think. So those normal people are already gone. They're already at home in their hotels or wherever it is. And then you have those who came for the nightlife, and they know they've come from all these other locations and they want to party. And it's just like party hard. So they really go into it and it becomes a nuisance. And then you see them, police arresting them, they're fighting and, taking a leak on the side of your street and basically just passing out. It was just not a pretty sight. So the neighbors came together and sued the city council, and the city council said, what, you're going to sue us? The problem is we agree with you. and the neighbors are like, oh, you agree with us? Of course you agree with us. This is the Netherlands. We don't just sue for frivolous reasons. Anyway, so you get the point now. So over-tourism became a problem. I don't think it's really totally over-tourism. It's just that bad behaviors. So because of that, what happened was that they said, okay, we're going to do something about it. So in 2023, they said, what some of the things we're going to start doing is people staying overnight, we're going to tax them like 12%. And people are like, 12%? Okay, I'm not staying in Amsterdam. Okay, Haarlem is just not too far away. I go to very close. So Schiphol, it doesn't matter. I'll get the NS, the train, into the center during the day, and then I go back and sleep outside. It's cheaper. And so that reduced the number of people staying overnight in the center of Amsterdam. And then something else the city decided that we're going to do was that no new permits to build new hotels. So those who already had the permits that is in process, that's been approved, fine, you could continue. But then for you to get a new permit, a hotel has to basically be closed, and then a new one replaces it. And now they've put even more restrictions and more demands on the newer ones, where it has to be more environmentally friendly, sustainable, and all these other good stuff. Basically, it's going to cost you more to build your hotels. So that's not good. Now, apart from over-tourism, I don't know if they're actually going to do something about Airbnb, the impact on that and how that's going to impact everything, because this is also the complaint that people had, that there were empty houses in the center of Amsterdam, which created a higher demand, because if you leave them empty, no one is living in them, it becomes an issue. You have in the center of Amsterdam, you had almost 80 to 90,000 people living there. So not even taking into account the bigger Amsterdam area. So when you have all those issues, the city council is really trying to keep people happy. And the reason for this is that living in Amsterdam is not cheap. You pay taxes, and the what something you wouldn't want is your people paying all these taxes, high taxes, to be unhappy. So because of that, they are doing something, trying to be positive about that, and I thought that's a really good thing, because if you're not helping people who actually live in the city, well, come the next election, they're going to kick you out. It's just that simple. You see, that power to the people movement. So the problem, I think, with Amsterdam is that it's so small and it's so popular. And because it's so popular, and it's one of the first place that people actually visit when they visit Holland, especially people traveling by air. So you come into the Schipholrijk, and it's just like, I think, less than half an hour from there. Taxi, you've got a train, you've got all these other things that you could actually get into the center. And once you're in the center, the central station is just perfectly placed in the middle, where you come out, and all basically your visit starts there. You can go into the museum. You've got quite a few museums. You can walk from that to where the Anne Frank house is. So a lot of things that are just to make the city really popular and a tourist attraction. So, and another thing is that you've got all these boats that can, people go on, or you take the boat and it just goes around Amsterdam, go Amsterdam North, and then come back down. They explain a few things to you, and you've got quite a few of those. And during the summer months, it's just packed. So a lot of things happening. So on one hand, you're trying to attract people. On the other hand, you want to attract the right type of tourist. I think that's the way to put it. It's not that people don't mind tourists coming. It's just when they start, the negative part of tourism, and that you can't really predict that. And I wouldn't even say it's just the young people, or people say people from other cultures. Most of the loud ones are often Europeans as well. Anyway, so a lot of things to see in the city, I have to say. Amsterdam, and I think the nightlife is fine. A lot of the things people appreciate about it, the fact that you can walk around the city. You don't have to own a car or rent a car like you would if you were in other parts of if you were in the US, for example. So it's a good thing. All right. So is it going to be successful? But apparently they are seeing success with the rate of people, less people staying overnight anyway in the city. But it doesn't mean less people are visiting the country. It just means that they're able to distribute the overnight stay. So more people will probably be staying outside of Amsterdam, which is a good thing. And then the more they're staying outside of Amsterdam, it means they're also likely to visit other parts of the Netherlands instead of just being congregated into the center. So let's see what the future holds, because it says by 2024 they had about 2.28. It was basically less. It was lower people coming into the city, not the amount of tourists, but people staying overnight, which is a good thing for the locals. But I don't know if the measures it will last at the end of the day, because when you think about tourists, people have always said that it's best if you can get a hotel closer to where all the activities are. So it means you're not wasting time having to travel from one end of the city to another. But the fact that Amsterdam is rather small, so if you're staying in the north, or if you go further south, very close, like the Zuidoost, as they call that place, or even further up, you would be, I would say, about 30 to 40 minutes from the center, which is not too bad when you think about it. And the public transport is pretty good, so buses or trains. So when you factor all that in, I still think the measures taken at the moment is not going to prevent people from coming into the city. People would still go into the city. I'm not even talking about international travel here. I'm talking about locals, because a lot of people actually visit Amsterdam every now and then just to enjoy what the city has to offer. Now, I know they're saying we want less people, but they keep organizing cool things. And something called the Sail Amsterdam is coming this year. I think it's every 5 years or so. Now, when you think about that, every 5 years, the sail itself is a massive tourist attraction. So if you put in out up cool shows that would bring more people, more boats. If you've ever seen some of the videos on YouTube about the Sail Amsterdam, it is absolutely insane. The amount of boats in the already during the Koning's Day, where a lot of people go to party the King's birthday. Everyone is just like getting down, getting drunk, Heineken and all that stuff. And then the boat and the sluice, where with where the boats go through and open bridges and all that. It's chaotic. Now, they say we don't want too much tourists, but then this one is only like, I think, for a week, and it is only for a week every 5 years. So it's not too bad. I think the city would probably just turn a blind eye to that. We know we're organizing it. We'll deal with that problem for a couple of weeks. And once it's gone, then we can breathe for another 5 years. And I think a lot of locals wouldn't even mind, because it gives you an opportunity to see boats you wouldn't ordinarily see every day. So the novelty doesn't wear off, which is a good thing. Anyway, so that's the problem that Amsterdam Center is dealing with. Let's see what the future holds.